yeah, really looking forward to be spending some time with you. I'm going to allow for another minute, and then we'll kick this off. Please, for those who've just joined, remember to use the chat box. We'll be communicating through the chat box. I have muted everybody just so that we can ensure that there's no noise, back noise coming through. But please do participate in the chat box. Ask us questions, pose your comments. I think it's very dangerous for any one person to think they have got all the answers. I'm definitely not that person. But I do have a bunch of tools and tricks that I want to share with you today on how you can take this, tackle this new economy, this new future that we're going in, that everybody is so uncertain about. And I do know that those tools that I want to share with you tonight, I've used with many clients before. They have really helped clients. And you'll notice that a lot of what I'm going to do is about visualization. It's very much an underplayed tool and a very important part in moving people forward, especially in this time where we've got to get people engaged. Visualization is a very important part. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 4 minutes past 5. I am going to start this evening's seminar. First of all, welcome to everybody here. And congratulations on making tonight and investing your time in your business. I salute you. I salute you because your business is an extremely important part of who and what you are. Our businesses are actually an extension of us. So if we ever want to go and change our business, all we need to do is go and look in the mirror, because that person looking back to you in the mirror is the person that is responsible for who and what your business is and how it operates. So well done for spending, and not spending time, but investing time into your business tonight. I'd also like to welcome Paul, your CEO of the Just Property Group. Paul, welcome tonight to this third Cashflow seminar of a series of 4. Welcome, Paul.
Thanks, Jacques. Welcome to everyone else. Nice to have you guys all in the group. I see we've got a couple less people, hopefully a few more participants over time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, thanks for investing this hour. After hours, I think everything just flows into everything during this lockdown period. And I think this is also on the back of, I wouldn't say bad news, but sort of a further lockdown period for us as an industry. And, we had a training session this morning with PG. And just one of the things in the session that I didn't sit through the whole thing, but something I took out of it that I thought was quite relevant for all of us. And I mean, I know Jacques, I have asked him to spend a little bit of time always in these sessions with our minds and where we're going in a mental capacity and not just the cash, because, unfortunately, one of the biggest things right now is our mental capacity and how we're coping with things. And PG this morning made reference to, the more you focus on something, the more you attract it. So I think that was very just relevant for all of us to understand that these times require so much of us to focus on the right things and not let our minds dwell on the wrong things, which is just so easy, with what we've been fed continuously. So yeah, let's remain focused and positive of the outcome that the positive outcomes that will come. Business will go back again, and I think we've still got a very good business model that will survive this. As hard as it is, we'll all get through this. So yeah, Jacques, thanks for your time tonight, and thank you each and every one of you for joining us. Another thing that PG said was, is this the beginning or the end? It depends how you take it. And I think that is also very relevant, that this could be the beginning of a great thing to come, or we can perceive it to be the end. And it all depends on the perception that we place on it. So yeah, we're going to get through this together all. So thanks, Jacques. Leave it up to you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much, Paul. Paul, I just notice that there's a comment there that one of the reasons maybe that the education minister is on TV. So I just want to remind John that I will be recording this session. As a matter of fact, it has been recording. We've also recorded the previous session, so we will be able to make that available, Paul and John, for anybody that perhaps wasn't able to join us tonight and did want to get some of the insights and tools that we will be sharing. But without any further ado, let's keep going forward. And what I want to do is just do a quick recap on what we discussed last week. So last week we spoke about well, not last week, the week before that, we spoke about the brutal facts. We spoke about don't assume. We took you through the cash flow forecast template. We said, you know, the strategy of not tapping into reserves and rather having reserves available as much as you can to take you forward through these difficult times. And then we also spoke about having difficult conversations, and these times is quite imperative that we have the difficult conversations at the moment and not postponing it for after lockdown, because thinking it's going to be easier. We know that that will not be the case. Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I have got my wrong slide up here. Let me just swap that quickly. There we go. Lockdown phase 2. Screen sharing has stopped. I apologize for that little technicality. You know, sometimes we are so eager in doing this. Let me get my screen share up again. Lockdown phase 2. Share. Nevertheless, there we have it. Cashflow seminar 3 of 4, 30th of April. That is today. Okay. Yes, so last week we spoke about the miracle morning, and we said, you know, the importance of ensuring that every morning you are waking up and putting yourself into the best possible position to make the best possible decisions for your business. You know, at this stage, that is critical, that you put yourself in the best position to make the best decisions for your business. And we spoke about this little formula called Lifesavers, you know, spending every morning, you know, even if it is just a minute in silence, spending a minute on your affirmations, spending some time on visualizations. And you'll hear me talk about affirmations and visualizations later on again today. So keep that in mind. Doing a bit of exercise. I am extremely glad to hear that from tomorrow I can go and run outside again. Getting a bit tired of the skipping ropes, physically and mentally, but also getting a lot better at it. Spending time reading positive stuff. You know, it's so easy to fall into a trap of reading too much about the current dire situation and what everybody is saying about it. And then scribing, you know, remembering to have a journal, to write down gratitude, to write down how you see yourself, and to write down your goals on a daily basis. So that's what we spoke about last week. And we also then, after the mindset point of view, we spoke about cost savings versus no free lunch. You remember that I said that, you know, a deferred payment is exactly that. It's a deferred payment. You are not, you're still obliged to pay it in the end. And it's very important to go and make those sums to see what your business can afford. Each business is different. And then we spoke about a bunch of cost saving options, from rental to salaries to insurance. And if there's anybody that has found anything interesting regarding cost savings that we spoke about last week, please feel free to mention something in the chat box for us. We'll really appreciate that. But I am going to continue. And I'm going to remind us that it's about first things first, looking after yourself. There's just no ways that you can look after other people if you are not looking after yourself. And then a reminder to look after your team, check into them, and then looking after your business. I just want to stop on looking after your team. You know, and there's a thought that occurred to me today. that, you know, there's a lot of people in dire situations out there, you know, and some of them could even be some of your agents, people in your scenario. And the reality is there's no silver bullet to change some of these things. There's no scenario where, you know, we can wave a magic wand and, you know, money sort of disappeared and goes into people's accounts. But the one thing that there is, and there's one thing that we have to take cognizance of, is our humanness, our humanity. And in some cases, that's the only thing that's going to save us and going to save other people. And when certain people don't have food on the table, the only way for them to survive is by the support of the rest. And that's something that we have to consider to see, you know, how can we reach our hand? And I was speaking to another client of mine earlier today, CEO of a big business. And he was sharing with me that he's going through ups and downs, you know, as I asked him, how's this lockdown period for him? And he's struggling. Some days he's having good days and some days he's having bad days. But even the top CEOs are struggling. And that made me think that, you know, it happens to all of us. We get our good days and our bad days. And I think when you're having a good day, know that you're having a good day, and maybe share some of that good love, that good energy, and reach out to somebody, because you never know, that person that you reach out to might just be having a bad day, and your call is just what they needed to take them through the day. And I think that's something we can all do, that when we're in a position of good energy and feeling good about it and feeling positive again, it's just to reach out to somebody, and you never know, you might be doing your good deed for the day. But looking after yourself is always important. That's the thing I want to focus on for a while. And one of the things I want to speak about is book recommendations, because this is a great time for you to actually catch up on a bit of books. I've never been a fan of a Kindle, just because I like hard copy books. I like the texture of it. But I have been now almost forced to buy books from Amazon. And it's actually changing my behavior and my thinking regarding that, which I'm actually appreciative of in a weird sense. But the two books that I want to recommend for you today is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. And you'll see it relates to the tool that I'm going to share with you in a few minutes. This is probably a fascinating story about purpose and how to navigate and get through absolute hectic times. So if you're in search for a book of inspiration, this is definitely high on my list. It's probably one of my top 10 books ever to read. And it forms the foundation of a lot of the work that I do and the thinking that I have regarding human behavior. Viktor E. Frankl, the story that he shares with how he survived the Holocaust, how he was lucky to survive it, is absolutely fascinating and a highly recommended read. Then the second book that I want to share with you is actually a book that I've only recently completed, although it's been recommended to me for many years. And I personally just thought, because this book has been published such a long time ago, that it's old school. That's seriously what my thinking was. It's old school, and I'd rather read the newest and the latest of Robin Sharma and John C. Maxwell and Michael Gladwell, and not to dilute any of the value of their work, but this book is probably the mother, the foundation of all personal development books. And it comes highly, highly recommended, especially in this time where we need to change our mindset. Not change our mindset, but keep a positive mindset. And I want to share with you, first of all, this book resources. I found this, the pdfdrive.com. Now, the book that I've just told you that I bought on Amazon, I did look on PDF Drive. I unfortunately couldn't find it there. But if you go to pdfdrive.com, there's a lot of books and resources available on there for free that you can download and read. And I would highly recommend that you do that. And the purpose of reading, ladies and gentlemen, is really to stimulate your thinking. Because the reality is we are all regurgitating, and science has proven this, probably about 80% of the thoughts that we had yesterday. So, to get any new thoughts and new thinking into our minds, it is imperative that we find a source to do that. And personally, I just find reading is absolute magic in that sense. And this is a great resource. And this is two quotes this is one of the quotes that I got from Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Mind control is the result of self-discipline and habit. And that really struck to me, because mind control in the times that we are is imperative. We cannot control the circumstances. There's so many things outside of us that we cannot control. But the only thing that we can control is our mind. And the only way to control your mind is through self-discipline and habit. And this is an extremely important part of developing ourselves, is to create that self-discipline and to create that habit, and start by reading and using that. I'm also going to share with you a tool very shortly about how we can do that and how we can control our minds. Because the most practical of all methods for controlling the mind is the habit of keeping it busy with a definite purpose, backed by a definite plan. The most practical of all methods for controlling the mind is the habit of keeping it busy with a definite purpose, backed by a definite plan. And when you read both of those book recommendations that I've shared with you, you'll understand that purpose plays an imperative role of pulling you through difficult times. Every purpose story that I've heard is about people being in a tight spot. But when you have purpose, it's the one thing, it's your North Star that pulls you through. But purpose without a definite plan is basically just a wish. So you've got to be practical about what you're doing. I'm not suggesting by any means just to have faith that things are going to play out as you want it to be. That's not at all what I'm suggesting. What I am suggesting is that you get clear about your purpose, and that you get clear about a plan to support your purpose. And the whole of today, of our time together today, that you are investing is exactly about that. And here is one of the tools, and John, I'll be happy to share that with you, to share with the franchisees afterwards, so that they actually have this as a tool to use, not only for yourself, but remember what we shared last week. When the student becomes the teacher is when you learn the most. So first of all, you've got to be able to walk the talk, and for you to practically use these tools, and once you've done it, it becomes extremely valuable for you to share this with your team, with your agents, with the people that are helping you growing your business. So the first step in this tool is to describe your business 2 to 5 years from now. How does it feel to be part of your business? Describe the emotion and feeling as vividly as possible. That's extremely important, that we focus on the emotion of what our business could feel like 2 to 5 years from now. Be descriptive in the kind of people you work with, the type of clients you have, the accomplishments of the business. Be creative. Stimulate your right brain and write down what your business looks like 2 to 5 years. And I totally get it that, it's hard to think about it at the moment. But you know what? Whether you believe in a future or whether you don't believe in a future, you are absolutely correct. And that's a belief system that nobody can teach you or give you. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't have a belief system in a better future, I strongly suggest that you find a way to cultivate it. But if you do have a belief that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I explained this to some of the franchisees earlier in my coaching sessions, that some people can see a light. It's a very dark light, it's dim, but they can see it. And when you give them share them a tool like this, they will write down step 1, and that light will become clearer. But for some people, when they've got their back against the light at the end of the tunnel, there's just no ways you can turn anybody around to show them that light. There's no argument that you can have with them to say to them, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If somebody doesn't want to believe in a light at the end of the tunnel, there's nothing you can do. And I'm specifically referring to some of your agents, you know, and the people that work for you. Some of them will see the light at the end of the tunnel, and they'll use this tool. They'll grab it, and actually they don't even need a tool like this. They'll just jump at it, and they're positive, you know. And I've seen it that good agents just become better agents in tough times. And then you're going to have bad agents that have got their, you know, bad's probably not the right descriptive word, but be it as it may, it's just agents that don't believe that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and no tool will help them. They're the only people who can help them. But then you're going to get the third category of people, and they're going to be on the edge. And they just need a little push towards the light. But if you push them a little towards the light, they'll be able to see it, and they'll be able to move forward. And this is a brilliant tool to use to push them towards the light, so that they can become part of that future business that you have for yourself. Okay, so step 1, very important, is to write that down, be creative. Then step 2, and here you will hear the word again, identify affirmations and self-talk that support your future self. In other words, you cannot have a vision of your future business and not believe that you are that person managing and driving that business. And that belief comes from how you talk to yourself. How do you see challenges? How do you see the future? And that's that's the little voice inside of your head, and you've got to program that voice. You know, that voice comes from years of conditioning, and the way to reprogram it, if that voice is not in line with what you want to achieve, you've got to use affirmations of continuously reminding yourself that you deserve a business that is flourishing, that you are successful in a business post the coronavirus, that you are successful in building a team of like-minded agents that enjoy working with you, and that you start to see that and believing that, and having that vision of the future. Which brings me to step 3. I am a very big fan of the work of a gentleman by the name of Dr. JoeDispenza. One of the reasons that I'm enjoying his work is because a lot of his work has been scientifically proven in the scientific community. And my favorite saying from Dr. JoeDispenza is, there's just no ways that you can enjoy a vision of the future if you are living by the memories of the past. And to break the memories of the past and to break the mold from that, you've got to be able to visualize a vision of the future. Because that's a future that does not exist yet, but you've got to be able to see and to feel it. And you'll remember in step 1, I spoke specifically about feeling your future business, like having an emotional feeling that you've embodied and that you recognize about, how you want to feel in your future business. And as part of your visualization, you need to rekindle and nurture that feeling. So what I'm really asking you in step 3 is to identify items of or themes or objects that represent your future. Your next step then is actually to go and find those. In other words, print them out, put them on a vision board, download them from the internet, put them in a PowerPoint presentation, PDF it, and let that be your daily stimulation as a reminder of this future business that you deserve and that you are going to have without a doubt. So without a doubt in your mind, because you know what, you can feel that future business. You can feel yourself being successful, and you projected yourself past the current circumstances. Because the one thing we do know is that this too shall pass. And I'm pausing there because I want this to sink in. This too shall pass. It's a fact. So when this shall pass, we don't know. Absolutely, we've got no idea, but we know that it will. So it's imperative that in your future business, where you look beyond what today is, that future business is something that you can feel, and you can see it in your mind's eye. And then the last step that we have is setting 3 to 12 month SMART goals to achieve your future business. So you've got to go and think about what is the little stuff that we can do and that we can get right to make that future business a realization. And just, it's the question of how do you eat the elephant? You eat it bit by bit. But this is where you've got to become practical about your future. And this is where you've got to link almost the strategy, take the strategy, which is step 1, 2, and 3, and make it tactical. This is where you take your right brain, which is the creative part, and making it logical. So it's bringing that all together. And I'm going to share with you a tool that you can use as part of your SMART goals to identify it. Because imagine using this whole process with an agent. Now you've got an agent to imagine their future business, their future self, of what that looks like. You've got them to understand what self-talk means, that they've got to have self-talk to remind themselves of that future business, and they've got a vision board where they can see themselves in that future. So you've got that wrapped up with an agent. Now it needs to get real. You've got to say, okay, Mr. Agent, now we've got to get this real. Now, how do we do that? And the SMART goals is going to be part of that. And what I'm going to share with you is a tracking tool where you can help them track these SMART goals so that for one, you can know what's happening in your business, and 2, you can support them so that are they going to be part of your future business? Are they going to see the light, or are they going to have their backs turned towards the light and not see it? And then we go back to the first conversation that I had in the Cashflow seminar 1 of 4, where we said having those difficult conversations now. Because if you've got agents now that have got their back towards the light, it's a flag to have a critical conversation, a crucial conversation now while you can. All right, so I'm going to move along, and we're going to talk about how to impact your cash flow. And ladies and gentlemen, that is about show me the money. So we've got to talk now about how are we going to impact our cash flow positively going forward. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, but Jacques, I mean, at this stage, what we know for a fact is that our industry is only going to be released at level 2. What can we do? There's absolutely nothing that we can do at the moment to get the cash flow in. Well, one thing is, at least the deeds office, from my understanding, is opening. So some of the past stuff will go through, and some of that money will start to flow, hopefully in the near future. The second part of what we've got to talk about is to say, all right, we've got this future business in our minds. We've written it down. We are visualizing it. We are talking about it. Now we've got to ask ourselves, remember in step 4, what is the 1 or 2 activities that we can embark on so that when the lockdowns end, when level 2 ends, whenever that is, I mean, we don't know, but when that does, we are ready for the opportunities. One of my most favorite sayings is that preparation plus opportunity equals luck. Preparation plus opportunity equals luck, and good old Gary Player, famous golfer. I mean, that guy has just got more accolades and more awards than almost anybody else on this earth on the golf field. He famously said, the more I practice, the luckier I get. So the message here is what are you practicing now to ensure that you are getting lucky after lockdown? Because if you're sitting now doing nothing and expect to be lucky after lockdown, I've got sad news for you, because after lockdown is going to be freaking tough. There's going to be a bunch of other people that's going to scramble getting their stuff in order. And if you haven't practiced anything, you're going to be standing last in that row. And unfortunately, I don't think that will bode your business very well in these times going forward. So what I'm going to share now is what I call the CEO dashboard. And the elements that we're going to have in the CEO dashboard, and once again, I'll share with you an example right at the end of what this looks like so that you could have a visualization of it. And also, for those who are clients of mine, you'll have that as part of your company success plan. It's a tab in there. For those of you who are not clients of mine, Jean, I'd be happy to share this once again with you, that you can share with them and they can use it as a template to build their own dashboards to enable the franchisees to use it as a tool, that follows on from the future business description that we've discussed earlier on. So the CEO dashboard talks about what we call in business terms lagging indicators. Now, lagging indicators is a very fancy word, but actually it just means results. And the word lag it's just after the fact. So it's results orientated. And I'll give you a few examples of what that is. But then we also talk about leading indicators. And leading indicators are activities. Leading indicators are activities, and then you've got lagging indicators, which are results. And the reality is you cannot really influence lagging indicators. Lagging indicators are exactly that. They lag the activities, and they just tell you what are the results that you have on your scoreboard. So if you think of a rugby game, for instance, something that we haven't watched for a while, so maybe I should not use that, but I'm going to go in any event because I haven't got anything else at mind. But in a rugby game, you've got a scoreboard, and the scoreboard will show you the results of the game. But that really is it's a lagging indicator. It shows you who has scored a try, who has had a drop goal, how many penalties have been converted. So if you want to know leading indicators will be your activities, exactly what I've just shared with you. That would be how many tries have you scored, penalties converted, drop goals, and even stuff like tackles, because how many tackles have you done, how many interceptions have taken place, and there's a bunch of activities that will have an effect on your lagging indicators. So what we want to do in our businesses is we want to get very, very clever at managing the right activities, because if we can do that, we'll have an effect on our lagging indicators and our results. And what we've got to ask ourselves now is, these activities, what activities do we need to practice diligently with discipline? Remember what we spoke right about in the beginning with mindset? You need a disciplined approach. So what activities are we going to manage and master with discipline that would have a massive effect or a substantial effect on the results of our business once we move out of lockdown? That's an extremely important question to ask. So let's look at an example. So the goal is, so there I have my future description. And now as part of step 4 that I shared with you, we now want to make it practical, and we've set some SMART goals. And one of the SMART goals is to sign 1 deal per month. The fact of the matter is, it's a lagging indicator. Signing 1 OTP per month as a result of, it's a lagging indicator. It is the score on the scoreboard. If you've got enough OTPs, you win. If you don't, you lose. It's as simple as that. So we cannot influence OTPs necessarily at this stage. Although I know of franchisees that have signed OTPs, and the question that I just asked, like, how on earth did you get right? They said, well, with the proviso that the OTP will, that the other party has to review the property, and once they've actually viewed the property, then it would become binding, the contract. All right, so that's lagging indicators. So then what we've got to ask, so what is the leading indicators? What are the activities that we can manage? And that's going to be calls, emails, SMSs, and we've got to get very clever and practical about that. And I know some of the franchisees, what they are doing is they're actually going down street by street. So they're making it very practical, very clear with the agents on how to work their suburbs. They're not just saying a suburb, they're actually going street by street. So this week you phone that street, next week you phone that street, the week after you phone that street. So it becomes crystal clear what has to be done, the activities. And when you practice these activities and you're doing all these calls and you're doing all the emails where you're reaching out and you're sending the SMSs, you could include in that list Facebook interactions. Although Facebook is very much a marketing activity, it's got to be very specific on what you want to do and what you want to achieve. But be it as it may, I'm not going to elaborate about a Facebook strategy at the moment. All I want to carry forward is the fact that it's about the activities, and what activities are you going to practice so that you can make use of the opportunities of the lockdown, so that you can ensure that you are the one that's going to get lucky. Because I can promise you, after lockdown, somebody's going to get lucky, and the person that's going to get lucky is the person who has practiced the most during lockdown. So here's the dashboard, which I would be sharing with Jean, that Jean can share with you, or you're more than welcome. I'll also share with you my contact details if you want to reach out to me about the dashboard or on anything else that we've spoken about tonight. You're more than welcome to email me. I'll leave my contact details with you. But this is the dashboard. And it's very simple, and the answer lies in the simplicity of it. So there you have it. You've got a start of a week, you've got an end of a week, and you've got there your lead indicators. And we've spoken about those activities. We're speaking about Facebook posts, phone calls, SMSs, WhatsApp, new listings, email marketing, whatever you have found works in your area. And this is something that I have come to recognize working with a lot of franchisees across the country, is that every franchise is different, and every franchise actually has learned what activities works the best in their environment. So you've got to identify what works the best. Although phone calls is probably the norm for everyone, phone calls works the best. I just want to quickly elaborate a bit on that color scheme there. You'll see that 7 there under week 1 is like in a brown color. It's actually supposed to be orange. Then there's the 5 as a red, and then the 10 is in a green. Ignore the yellow for now. The yellow is just because it's fields that need to be completed. But when you start color coding the activity, so 7 you'll see is orange, because you'll see under the target column you've got a 10. So that means 7 isn't great because you're not really on target. 5 is a red. So that means you had a problem week. And sometimes that happens. And I think that's okay. Sometimes we just have not a great week because stuff happens in our families, stuff happens in our finances, stuff just happens. So sometimes we do have a red week. But we also have green weeks, and green weeks is where we spot on and we're on target. So once you do that and you have got this visual representation of the activities that are happening in your business, and you have it per agents, you start to get a color map of where your business is going and are you practicing enough? Because if you've got a lot of green, it means that you are practicing enough, and the chances of you getting lucky after lockdown is enhanced. If you've got a lot of red, it is the opposite. And if you've got a lot of red with a specific agent, you've got to ask yourself the question, is this an agent? Is this somebody that is seeing the light, yes or no? And if the answer is no, it's probably time to have that crucial conversation and not postpone that crucial conversation for after lockdown. And then at the bottom there, we've got lagging indicators, we've got OTPs, transfers, got the goal there of 1 per month, and then that would be completed as one gets lucky, whether that would be before lockdown, which some franchisees have proven can happen, or else it would be after lockdown if you've had enough greens on your leading indicators. All right, Paul, I'm going to leave it there. That was a mouthful. I hope I've shared some valuable information with the franchisees. But I'd like to invite some comments now, and maybe you've got 1 or 2 questions yourself, Paul, or comments that you would like to make about what I have shared.
Thanks, Jacques. Yeah, I think, I've been through this with you, but I think for franchisees, I think most important thing to relate to the agents and your staff out there is that there's certainly still activities that we can be doing that will bring in results. And they might not be results now, but they certainly are going to come once we open up. And I think, with several franchisees that I'm talking to over the days, as tough as the setback is now, the light is there, as Jacques was referring. It's definitely, business will eventually turn around. This won't go on forever. Your quote, Jacques, of this too shall pass, I think is very relevant. It's not going to be there forever. And in my video that I did this past week of Freedom Day, where I made reference to Nelson Mandela and what he went through, as much as we think this is so tough, it certainly is, but it can be far worse, and we'll definitely get through this. And I think as long as our teams are focusing on the right things, and you as business owners and leaders, I think it's so important to lead the way with getting them to be doing the right activities in these times, because there certainly is work that can continue, and it's not all doom and gloom, as tough as it is. So Jacques, just with regards to what you've put there, I think, it's definitely hopefully given people a little bit of clarity. And I think, just for me to finish off on my side is, I also said in my video this last couple of days was that, we can either choose to be victorious coming out of this thing, or we can choose to be defeated. And, I'd like to encourage you all to see this as an opportunity where we're going to get the upper hand and are certainly going to come out of this winners in the end. So, good guys. I know rental collection has already started, and over the next few days, tomorrow and over the weekend, we're going to start to see the picture. So, good luck with all, and stay positive, stay strong. But thank you very much, Jacques, for your time, and thanks all of you for investing your time this evening too. And always available, always like to hear the news. We're all in the same boat. We all feel under pressure at times. I certainly do, but together we're a team, and we're going to get through this.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jacques.
So if there's anybody that has got a final comment or want to drop us something, please do that. I'll open it for another minute. I just want to remind you that it's not, it always looks a lot more daunting, but when you know that there's other people with you in the boat, just know that you're not alone. There's a lot of people with us in the same boat. There's a lot of people having struggles and wondering, and I think one of the best gifts we can give one another is just to reach out every now and then. Even if it's just with a little WhatsApp, just saying, "Hey John, how are you doing? Hey Mary, is everything still okay with you and the kids?" Just to reach out and let somebody know that you care. And I think that above all is what we need at this moment. Just to show that there's a bit of humanity going on, and yeah, and keeping ourselves positive. All right, Paul, I'm not seeing any more comments. I'm trusting that everybody understood what was going on. We'll definitely share these templates with Jean, who can distribute it to the team. Otherwise, here's my contact details. They're welcome to contact me as well. We finished a bit earlier tonight, but you know, it's about spending quality and not quantity time. So it is what it is. I'd like to wish everybody all the best, much success. And then next week, we'll have our final cash flow seminar session. So hope to see you all again there. And Paul, to you and your team, well done for investing your time. All the best, and looking forward to spending some more time with you next week, Paul.
Thanks, Jacques. And just on my finishing note, I know you said you're looking forward to a run outside. We had Freedom Day the other day, Monday. Tomorrow is Workers' Day. I think a lot of us are still working, but certainly one thing I'm looking forward to is not running around the house in circles, and to getting out there and having a run, and maybe even taking the dogs for a walk. So that certainly is light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm looking forward to that, and hope you all have a fantastic Friday weekend ahead, and we'll all be in touch next week. Thanks, Jacques.
Great, absolute pleasure. Thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful evening.